Villains are usually strong, unstoppable powerhouses. Planet Buster, City Destroyer, Building Annihilator. But that's not what we have here. Kira is more of a simple concept, and while he is powerful, today I'll be talking about how he is out of line with the normality of the JoJo's world, even though it's JoJo's, despite trying to present himself that way. How he is the outlier in this world of normalcy. Hi, I'm Talon Talks. Let's talk about Kira Yoshikage and his mental state between psychopathy and normality. I enjoy Kira because he's a blend of normality and psychopathy, taking what a normal, happy life is thought to be and adding a twist to it, as well as giving him a protagonist to compare himself to. And it shows Kira having a normal life by himself and a normal life with a family, with a wife and child, and a pet in an average-sized house. I mean, Kira has the best concept if you don't count every other JoJo's villain apart from Diavolo. Why are you this confusing to talk about? He's normal, but that's not an insult. That's just how he perceives himself, and how others perceive him at the start. He dresses like the average person, he isn't too noticeable. He works a regular job, but in reality he's a murderer with a stand who has a time ascending ability. He's basically Dio but less cool, if you will. But this normality he has contrasts well with his psychopathy, with this outer complexion showing him to be quite average, and his inner worlds being that of the utmost twisted degree. He's just the average everyday guy, but he's a murderer. But that's what makes him unique compared to other villains. He doesn't have the power and reach Dio and Cars had. He is just simply a regular man terrorizing a small town. The world of Part 4 really complements Kira. A normal world with more than meets the eye, kind of like Kira, a truly strange world with murderers and ghosts, unlike anything we've seen before in JoJo's. Someone who, instead of taking on powerhouse characters, or taking over the world, or maybe even resetting the universe, someone who terrifies a small town and murders the innocent. That's the perk of Kira. He's more basic than other villains, but he's interesting unwalked territory for Araki. Making the main antagonist of a slice-of-life world a murderer was a great move, and one that ultimately pays off, as I'm talking about him right now, and many others find him interesting as well. It adds onto the investigation plot point from Part 3. Seeing something like that really makes me appreciate JoJo's as a series. But he's not just unique compared to other villains, he's also unique compared to the vast majority of JoJo's characters, due to multiple facts. He has two abilities, he can reset time, and well, he's a murderer. So much for trying to seem normal, I guess. And as for JoJo's villains, he has an ability that affects time. Bites the Dust, as it's called. Now with this ability, I have gripes with it. Bites the Dust is somewhat creative. It keeps the victim alive and kills those who receive the information about Kira from the victim. It resets time if Hayato reveals Kira to anyone. Something that's already happened cannot be changed. Say that in this paradox, I broke a vase. Then time gets reset. No matter what, the vase will be broken time after time, even if it were to only sit there. Yes, I understand the coffee set would have been much better of an example, considering that it actually happened in Part 4. Basically, Destiny cannot be changed when it's activated, and it only lasts 1 hour. So when time's up, that ability is still there. But if it's by coincidence by Hayato himself, without Kira doing anything ahead of time, he's basically letting Hayato do Kira's job for him. However, it's a little too convenient. Maybe it was because of his greatest fear at the time being found out, and well, he was stabbed with an arrow. But I still think if that was what we went with, that it's still coincidental. The fact that he was stabbed with the arrow in of itself at that time felt kind of forced. I have the same problem with Diavolo's death, but we'll cross that road when we get there. He is highly intelligent. Is this a sign of no note, or does this mean that there's something deeper? He is a narcissist. You can see this when he initially loses and is shocked, and he shows anger when Koichi declares that Kira can't hide from everyone for long, or when he first lost to Jotaro. This is all because of his ego. He believes himself to be far too intelligent to be outclassed by anyone, and we can see this when he says that he needs to live a normal life, Another episode talking about ego, but still, he lacks empathy for others, showing that he's willing to mentally scar a child to get away with his crimes. Though he doesn't like to get the attention of others, this doesn't take away from everything else listed. He is as well a psychopath. He has little control over the murderous tendencies. And sure, some of these were to just get away from suspicion, but you can't deny he didn't have to kill this man or hurt this man. While I would like to dive into this mentality of Kira a little more, I'm not a psychologist or whatever you want to call it, so I'm not qualified for that in any sense of the word, but there's a third side to it. Kira has an affinity for hands, from the small stuff like kissing the hand of a woman to Jesus Christ! Now, there's two reasons I believe. The fact that he enjoys hands and how to tell his strength, and possibly shows how screwed he is in any given situation. He violently chews his nails when he believes he's done for. However, when his problems are solved, he's done biting his nails. When he finds a way to not be found out, Kira trims his nails normally, but when he's not, he chews them, because he believes himself to no longer be in the best condition, due to fear of his enemies. Perhaps this is to just show Kira's fear of being found out, and what could happen from it. He wants to live a quiet life, one devoid of problems and things outside of normalcy, ironic considering what he actually does. Now, for the reason of his strength, he trims his nails to tell how powerful he is. The faster they grow, the more powerful he becomes. This is to show how strong Kira is without allowing him to fight. I personally don't like this system because there are already feats showing his true strength. You know, when Shigechi got murked, Jotaro was beaten, and he eradicated this woman with the Disney ability. It might just be done there to cement the fact of his strength, but I believe the series wouldn't be affected without it, but it isn't a massive part of JoJo, so I guess it wouldn't matter too much if it were to stay. Now, why he likes hands, I have no idea, and I don't want to find out, so we're moving on. Psychopathy versus normality isn't just referring to Kira's mental state. It as well refers to Kira and Josuke. Kira is much like Josuke, and having the antagonist resemble the protagonist is a massive part of antagonism, and is so well known that I mention it in basically every video except for Overhaul and Kakashibo. These characters are contrasting each other, which is the basis of a good character arc. Kira's stand ability allows him to only destroy, annihilate, eradicate, decimate, while Josuke's stand ability is to simply heal. This is another case of characters being alike by not being alike, but not like Denji and Makima. Those two were alike because they were unlike the rest of society. Here, Kira and Josuke are alike due to the fact that they are sheer opposites. Need more proof? Josuke has compassion for others to a point where he almost got himself killed saving Okayasu. I don't want to pronounce his name anymore, but I've got his name like 14 times in the script, so whereas Kira has compassion for no one, if you minus him and this woman versus cat stand. Yeah, Josuke is basically what normality is. People having compassion for another, while Kira is the representation of what society isn't supposed to be, psychopathy. Kira is an evil incarnate, and there's simply nothing else to add to that. But their fathers are also very much alike, as they can manipulate pictures. Joseph can predict or strategize, or even show what's happening at that second, and Kira's father can create a small realm by taking a picture. I completely forgot exactly how this ability works, but it's not important. They both got introduced into the series because their sons were in danger. But more importantly, Josuke is incredibly unique and can be noticed immediately in a crowd, whereas Kira cannot. He blends in with everyone, and you probably would have never noticed him if you never saw him prior. Tell me, who's more likely to be a JoJo's villain? This guy or Kira Yoshikage? This guy or Kira? This guy or Kira? Kira is surprisingly good. He has a personal tie to Josuke, Jotaro, Okayasu, Koichi, and many more, due to the fact that he has killed Shigechi, but also what he had done to Reimi and her dog. Oh no, I really enjoyed this. Since we followed these characters for so long, seeing their normal day, we get to see a lot of their lives, and that lets us understand them more. So we feel like we've had a personal tie to the story as well. And with this murder, even though Shigechi was annoying at times, you probably couldn't get over the fact that this felt a little more personal to you, because you saw this character so many times in the series, because that's how Josuke, Koichi, Okayasu, and others feel about this. But he's also a personal tie to the town of Morio. This personal tie gives this character more stance in JoJo's. This is because he has left multiple stains on this town, with all these women and other victims. It's something that I feel should have been explored more in the series. Like, you know, we could have seen the other victims that he killed, or how others were affected by Kira, but that's just me. He's willing to do everything to keep his normal, quiet life, so he kills anyone who may be a threat to that quiet life. Shigechi, Rohan, Jotaro, Josuke. It doesn't matter. But Kira prefers to indirectly fight because fighting would go against a peaceful life. To put it in the way Kira did, he wants to live as peacefully as a plant. Kira wishes to go down the more laid-back way of fighting, by sending Sheer Heart Attack to fight at times, or allow Killer Queen's Bites the Dust to put down his enemies. But if he needs to kill them himself, he will. He does this for the sake of living a more peaceful life in his eyes, letting nothing interfere with it, while attacking the ones who try to take it away in a way that guarantees him the utmost peace in his life. That's his desire and motive. Truly nothing else. He cares for no one, he fights for no one. He could have moved, he could have kept his distance from following Hayato, however his addiction to normality is his downfall, and what brought him down the path of no return. Kira prefers a normal life and will do anything to achieve it. While Dio wants power, Kars wants immortality, Kars would rather prefer this quiet life. It's weird that Kira's motive, and only motive, is a quiet life. It's incredibly strange. I understand that everything is strange in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but look at everything earlier. Depending on Dio, it's power or attaining heaven. And Kars is immortality, and power. It shows how scaled down we truly are. Going from people with egos and god complexes, with plenty of power to spare, to a murderer who wants a quiet life. It's something that's incredibly well done, as we can see a murderer in our world, and we can't see a vampire or an immortal pillarman in our world. So bringing it down to our level, so that we can really understand who this is, really shows Araki's skill. And just like that, Kira was dragged to hell by the hands of those he harmed for the past 15 years, with his own hand being ripped off by the first of his victims. The scars of the past may not have been healed yet, but with the perpetrator gone, they can certainly start, at least for the ones who know Kira's secret. While I would like to say that Kira teaches this or that, he really doesn't. Though I would say Kira shows that you can't always trust looks or the way things seem. Kira just appears to be a really well done character, and to be honest, I'm actually quite satisfied with that. But that's how you make a really good villain. Thank you for watching, I'll see you next time.